Silence! What's up, guys? Sorry, I'm still setting up. You should be able to see clearly. It's a little bright on my end. I can't really see. Can't see. Yeah, it should be okay. Okay. It's gonna be short streams. We're just gonna go for about an hour, and we're gonna try to get this thing inked up, cleaned up, finished up. Yup. Wow, the sun's starting to get out, man. It's gonna get a little hot in here. Oh, no. Silence! Loops. I gotta get these. This helps focus so much. Even if you're not listening to music, when you put the even just putting it in, but this thing has active noise control as well, and I don't know, man. It just lets you really zone in. Fine. It's as good as I can get. Oh, I gotta cover this. All right. What up, Gubby? How you doing? Thank you, Lynn. Sorry, guys, I'm pretty late starting. There was too much sun. Had to cover it with this like makeshift umbrella, setup I put up here. And then the managers they got mad, so I have to figure out a way to do it without pissing them off for some reason. They get mad. Anyways, let's see what we got here. Thank you for the heart. Appreciate you, man. Let's get to it. We're gonna do a short live. We got about 50 minutes where I gotta go run some errands. So let's see. Where's my inks? Thank you, Lin Wang. So this is Zol. He's a runaway vampire from the vampire mafia that killed his family pretty much. His father works with that same mafia in order to keep Zol alive after what happened because he betrayed them. So Zol is just caught up in this bullshit family feud and um, his bloodline, the type of vampire he is. Him and his father are the last ones, and his uncle, which he's never met, are the last ones who have this bloodline amongst vampires, the Dracul bloodline. That was the superior vampire bloodline because they can walk in the sun. You know, they don't need to rely on human blood to survive. And a bunch of other stuff. So they pretty much got wiped out after the coup d'état from one of the servant families, the Nostafari family, the most high servant vampire family for the Dracules, betrayed them with the help of someone from the inside, and Um, they pretty much left only the two brothers alive, and those brothers went on. One of the brothers of the coup d'état that was still alive is his father, Severin. And actually, Severin Loki works with his brother, but his brother is kind of shrouded in mystery as to who he is. You don't know too much about him, but it's hinted that he's actually the one who rules uh, the Nostrafari family. He was that traitor. But there's a lot to him that you'll find out later. He's not no regular vampire. Let's just say that. But yeah, Zolt. He tries to get away from his father after finding out the reason his mom and sister died in that horrible way. Um, Especially in that horrible way, it was because the Nostrafaris was trying to teach Severin a lesson, because he was planning on betraying them by researching into um, a certain weapon that essentially would wipe out the Nostrafari family. Hi, Mia. Thank you. So Zolt runs away from home and he goes to the sunniest place in the New World, um, called Los Diablos City. And it's a place in the human territory where most humans can't see fairy tales. Um, and he tries to just blend in and live amongst them and stuff, and live in that very busy city. He gets a job at Blood Burgers, working as someone, a cashier, flipping burgers, etc. And many years pass, and he has a girlfriend now. It's his supervisor, and he's also in a band with her and their friend, and they're making music, and that's his passion. Um, and he also, because he's stressed out, he smokes a lot. In Los Diablos over there, you know, weed is normalized, I guess you would say. It's kind of like LA. And yeah, he's a stoner. So he's like this vampire stoner who works at this burger joint, trying to just start a new life, build a new life for himself after the tragedy, etc. And one day, though, someone from his past decides to visit him at his job, and it's this person, Leash is his name, Leech, Liche, Leech Nostrafari, pretty much wants to make Zolt's life, new life, a living hell. And he has a hatred for the Dracules simply because that's what he was raised to do, is to hate these types of vampires, because in the past the Dracules were horrible to the other vampires. They would actually hunt the other vampire families for sport. They would enslave them and turn them into like servant families, and it happened for most of vampire history. And so it's very recent that they've been overthrown by the Nostrafaris, and that hatred is really strong in them. And so Leash, he sort of carries on that hatred that he got from his family, um, and he kind of projects it on Zolt a lot. He's a little older than Zolt, but uh, he's he's sort of like what revenge can turn a person into. It could turn them from being an individual free to choose to someone who's enslaved to hatred and vendetta. So, and Zolt has actually a similar situation because Leash is the guy who used this very dangerous weapon on his mom and sister, and was trying to use it on him too, to turn them into beasts. Where unfortunately the mom ended up becoming a beast using this weapon right here, this dagger. It's a special dagger. It's called the Astra Lycaon, and it houses the soul of King Lycaon, who has this animal column where he could turn people into the bestial reflection of themselves. So, whatever animal that your spirit represents, he could turn you into that if you pretty much accept his curse. And how it works is he invites you into a delicious, wonderful banquet, and the food that's in front of you is so beautiful and it's amazing, and you can't resist it. Really, it's so hard to resist it. And in reality, you're thinking, you're in this banquet, but in reality, you're actually, every bite you take is a person you just ate in reality. So you're in this illusionary world where you're thinking you're eating this delicious food at a banquet, and the more you eat, the more amazing it gets, and the more they refill, the more people you're actually eating, that you become a beast. You become some kind of animal that's a human animal. So like you could be a werewolf, uh, you could be anything. Or wear a reptile, or wear a giraffe, even. Fuck, it doesn't matter. But you know, depending on your nature, if it's predatory, if it's uh, uh, you know um, modest, if it's not, whatever, it'll reflect that. So that's what this does. This dagger. Um, and so his mom was turned. She couldn't resist, and she was gonna eat him as well after eating the sister. And luckily, the dad came and saved the day, uh, and had to put down the mom, who was turned into this coyote. Anyways, that guy that did that to his mom and his sister, that's Leash. He did it. He brought him in front of the Nostrafari family, youngins, and they're all happy to see the extermination of the Draculas. Finally, it's a historic day. So they were gonna watch it, but then the dad came in and stopped all that. You know, per permission of the Dawn, the Shadow Dawn of the Nostrafari Mafia. So they all had to listen. But there was a big showdown. They were fighting, and there's a lot of stuff. Anyways, I forgot why I told you all that. Ah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, Leash, he is a sort of reflection of what happens to you when you're absorbed by generational hatred. You're absorbed by this vendetta that's been passed down to you, that you've inherited. And in the case of Zolt, his grandfather and his uh, father's direct family, they were assassinated by the coup d'etat, and then his own mom and his own sister were killed in a gruesome way, and he was gonna be killed too by this guy. And so he has a choice to make because this person comes back into his life and wants to finish the job and wants to destroy his new life in the process as well. And he has a choice to make in this arc. And essentially, he has to decide whether, giving in, whether eating from that plate from like Kaon's curse, right? Eating from that plate where it's so delicious, it's amazing, the food looks amazing, but it's an illusion and that's a test for you. Um, that revenge is so sweet that he could do it, but he has to be the one to essentially break that generational uh, desire for revenge, for constant, uh, you know, ensnaring a whole family into more and more bloodshed. So he sort of has to make that choice. And like I said, Leash is sort of the opposite choice, the opposite outcome of that. And his father is also another path in which, because his father was so absorbed by wanting to get revenge for his family, Severin, when he had to kind of swallow the hard pill and just serve that family, it really built up in him. It's like, I know you guys are the ones that assassinated my mom, my brothers, my sisters. You left me and my brother alive. So, and now you got me working for you guys. This humiliation. Like, the Dracules are now the servants. So his older, his dad, he has this hatred for them, like a deep hatred. Um, so his obsession with revenge, Dracule's hatred to become, even though he hates them, he has to work for them to keep his son alive. And he has to do whatever they tell him after they did such a horrible thing to him. It's just like really bad. And but the whole time he's still seeking that revenge, and he becomes a workaholic, trying to drown himself in alcohol and work. And he kind of abandons Zolt a little bit. Zolt's pretty much always at school and at Bram Academy and learning. And so when he finally confronts his dad, he starts ditching school. He learns that from reading a book at the library at Bram Academy about the Dracula bloodline and all this. He learns about them, about what happened, the coup d'état, and he realizes my dad is the reason why my sister and my mom ended up getting, killed in that gruesome way. Um, and he kind of developed a hatred for his father. Oops, I'm gonna put the jewel over his thumb. Yeah, this was like this. So when Zolt escapes to Los Diablos City, he builds a whole new life, gets new people that he cares about. The whole time he's having nightmares, right? He's having nightmares about his past, about what he witnessed that day, how it's driven him to a point where he needs to smoke in order to kind of calm down and to go to sleep and stuff. Um, he he thought his past was in the past, but unfortunately, it comes knocking down his door when he least expects it. He's at his work shift, and then all of a sudden, Leash comes in the door, eager to see Zolt after so many years, and he's very impressed with his human partner, and Zolt has to defend her honor. He has to protect her from these evil, evil vampires. She has no clue that vampires are real, that fairy tales are real in the story, and she gets caught up in it, unfortunately. Anyways, um, what ends up happening is that the reason Leash came to Los Diablos City isn't just because Zolt is there, though that was what convinced him to go there to test out his weapon that he wants to test out. He went there because on a certain night when the moon is blood red, the effects of Lycaon's curse from this weapon are heightened. And you can have a whole city wide um, um, banquet, Lycaon's feast, where he can invite the whole city in and all of its inhabitants. And essentially, what he wants to do, what Leash wants to do, is he wants to earn his stripes from the Nostrafaris. He wants to earn the respect of the Shadow Dawn and all this stuff. He wants to create a were-slave factory. So he's going to turn Los Diablos City basically into a city that becomes a breeding ground for were slaves. So he can to the government, the cloud that knows about fairy tales and all this stuff. To them, they have a deal with the Nostrafari family, and they said, if you guys can take care of this were beast problem that we have, that we just immediately annihilate them because they're just too dangerous and too wild. If you guys can imprison them, make a prison system for them, then maybe we could cut a deal. And so the Nostrafari family wants to create a crisis so they can have that deal, and they do have that deal, but they want to generate more slaves for the prison, the were prison industrial complex that they created. And what they do is they turn these people using like Chaos Curse into these vicious were beasts, and those people, when they return to their human state, their normal state, and they have their consciousness again, they're not like just mindlessly eating people. They kind of are ridden with guilt and confusion as to what happened, and they have these memories of what they just did, as a werebeast devouring people and all that stuff. So it really kind of messes with them, and the Safari family comes in and pretty much takes advantage of that situation by telling them that they have a collar that can control that werebeast inside of them so nobody could get hurt, but they're gonna pretty much have to be dependent on them. So that they end up becoming were slaves that way over time. Especially, the collar ends up completely getting rid of that person's ego, so you have a were slave. Um, it's really messed up. That's the kind of business that the Nostrafari family is taking a lot of money from. And so, what Leash wants to do is he wants to impress the superiors. He wants to impress the Shadow Dawn, especially, uh, uh, who he considers to be the real Dawn, because the Soul Dawn, or I think it was the Sun Dawn or the Light Dawn. I don't know. The, the regular Dawn, the Light Dawn, the Day Dawn. I don't know what to call it. The Dawn that isn't the Shadow Dawn. He pretty much is. He's kind of not all really there. You know what I'm saying? And he's not really. Leash doesn't. He's not impressed. So he's more impressed by the Shadow Dawn. He wants the Shadow Dawn to be able to acknowledge him. And, there's a whole thing that they believe, because the Shadow Dawn is who helped them defeat the Dracules. They believe that the Shadow Dawn is actually like the return of the original vampire or whatever. So they kind of borderline worship him in a weird way, and he's very vicious. He's very cruel. Doesn't care. So, but anyways, going on that tangent. What was I saying? Yeah. So the Nostafari mafia, they make a lot of their money from creating were slaves, and it's a messed up process. And the Cloud just sort of looks the other way because, one, they get to take care of that problem with the beasts running wild and shit, and two, uh, they probably get a kickback out of it, because there's a lot of money generated through that, through the building of all these different prison systems for these beasts. So what's interesting about this is that there are beasts who end up learning how to control their beast side, that beastly side, and they broke away, breaking out of the prisons. Yeah, sorry, Dema. I could see you. Very nice. New sub. Is that Scissor 7? Is that a sketch for your manga? Very good. Yeah, it's my manga. It's called Demon Files. This is a spin-off from my main series, Demon. How do you draw the anatomy that well and correctly? Just practice figure drawing. I recommend you take live drawing classes. So, go to your local community college, take as many figure drawing classes as you can, and then study anatomy books. A really good one I recommend is Michael Hampton's figure drawing uh, textbook. That's a really good one. And also learn how to manipulate faces and learn how to do hands really well. I mean, I'm not the greatest at hands, but you need to understand that hands are very expressive, and you could probably teach a whole class on that. Hands and feet. Very nice new sub. Is that Scissor 7? Da, 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 da. Can you, Dema, can you hear me what I'm saying to you? Can you hear me? Because there's a little bit of a delay from what I could tell. Am I right? Can you let me know, okay? Please let me know if you can hear me. Okay, I hope they can hear me. What's up, guys? Yo, guys, get the likes up on TikTok, please, and Insta. Welcome, CN. I'm going to be ending in about 10 more minutes. Doing some errands. 10, maybe 20 minutes. I'll try to see. Yeah, and the important thing with when it, oh, I'm 15 minutes calling. We have to wait till 10.
It's okay. It's ready now. You want to Magnolia Lincoln that opens at 9.
Magnolia Lincoln? No, they don't open at 9. They open Today they open at 10.
No, it wouldn't be right next to the other one. It's already 10.
Oh, you're saying there's one that's open in a little bit right now. It's already 9:40. There's some water. Is there enough water just for a little bit? Like 20 more minutes? There's not even a drop? I'm sorry. Oh shit. Okay, it looks like I gotta go, guys. Hey guys, it was fun. Here's the inking we got. We did like about 40 minutes of live, which was good. Okay, I'm glad you can hear me, Dema. Oh, that's amazing. You want to be a doctor. That's really amazing. Now, if you're doing art on the side, right, I understand. I mean, a doctor is amazing. If you want to be a doctor and you want to help people and do all that, that's great. And you like to learn how the biology works and everything and how everything's connected. As an artist, though, you don't need to know too much. In fact, I would advise you, if you want to have a more stylized look to your art, and rather than being realistic and 100% accurate, it's better not to fill your head up with too much certain knowledge, certainty. You know what I'm saying? You should have enough. I would say, if you want to learn the terms because you're a doctor, that makes 100% sense. But if you are trying to do art and you want to do anatomy art, right, and you want to have cool character designs and make your own story or whatever, um, where it's not confined to very realistic standards, then just learn the shapes and how gesture works. This gesture is like the sketch before you start to do the construction. It's like finding the energy of the. Hello. Say hello to everybody. Say hello to everybody. Say hello Get out of here. Hello, your claws. Hello, please. Please let go. I love you so much. Sorry, I got distracted. Yeah, I gotta end the live. I'm sorry, but I was just saying that don't feel like you need to have everything exactly perfect. There is an obsession with perfection, especially in art school. When you go there, you're gonna see that, you know, you'll hear some teachers talk like, oh yeah, you need to learn every little term, you need to memorize all this, or else you're not at this level or whatever level. It's all bullshit. In fact, some of the greatest artists that ever walked this earth, alive or dead, didn't even get an art education. They don't know anything about anatomy in terms of the terminology and how it functions completely. That they understand is mostly instinctual and from drawing and practice and drawing from life, right? Seeing, when you look at the muscles, if you look at it under light, you know, you could kind of see the veins, you could kind of see this texture in the skin, you could kind of see the bones, and you look for the the bony points. You know, I forgot what there's a term that they use commonly. Um, the hinge points. So, I forgot what the term. It doesn't matter. Point is, you look for like the bony points. You look for that kind of structure of how to kind of see through the skin, and you can only get that with your eyes looking at a person. So that's the best thing to do. Is draw, figure, draw. Me, I'll see y'all. Have a good one. Thank you. Dema, sorry, and later, yeah, I will be back. I will be back. I won't be doing this one, unfortunately. I have a time limit on this one because I really do got to finish up chapter 0. I really got to send it out there, and there's just a lot of pages. So I'll be probably doing that one. But when I come back, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do some sketching for fun, and we'll try to get as much content out there for y'all, and hopefully get to the finish line real soon. Okay. All right, guys. I will be doing this, so maybe later on today. So, yeah. Later, guys.